I'm back recording from my backyard, although it's a little dark outside, so sorry for my ghost-like features, guess I haven't been getting out lately. So we are now starting our review for the AP exam, and so I just wanted to do a really fast video outlining the things that are in Unit 1, which is as put forth by College Board. So College Board all this time has had units, and we've kind of like loosely followed them. We've been doing some of early on in the course, we were doing some of the progress checks. And so what we're going to do right now is we're just going to do a quick little summary of things that are happening in Unit 1. And so for Unit 1, here are the topics. Okay, so the topics are as follows. So Unit 1 is about limits and continuity as a just as a whole. And of course, there's all the little itsy bitsy things that we learned about limits and continuity. And so some of the topics include just trying to find limits and estimate limits and determine limits given different representations. And so they're asking you to estimate limits from like a graph or from a table. They're also asking you to determine what limits are. So we've got determining limits, all these different things. There's algebraic notation. There's using properties of limits, the definition of a limit, all these fun topics. So a couple of things I wanted to highlight is that if you're going to estimate limits, by just some graphs, okay? A couple of fun things to remember is that the limit as x approaches 0 of 1 over x squared is an infinity. It helps to think about what that graph looks like. The limit as you approach 0 of something like the absolute value of x over x, it does not exist. That is because the one-sided limits are different. One of them is a positive and one of them is a negative. You could graph that to remind yourself. The limit as x approaches 0 of sine of 1 over x does also not exist. And then the limit as x approaches 0 of 1 over x does not exist. Just thinking about like each of the ways that these do not exist. Sometimes they're going in different directions, or the one-sided limits are not the same. Just those fun things to think about. Of course, when we talk about properties of limits, remember all those things we used to say, the limit of a sum is the sum of the limit, all that good stuff that works for differences and products and quotients. Also, if we're thinking about composite functions, you can still do limits with those, super fancy. When we're talking about determining limits with algebraic notation, all of these things right here and this little spot right here, we're trying to get us to manipulate it so that you could maybe not have it be like 0 over 0 or something like that. So things that you could do, you could factor, you could multiply by a conjugate, right? And either it could be the conjugate of the top or the numerator to maybe make something cancel. There's alternate forms of trig functions. Maybe you can turn a tangent into a sine or a cosine, or, fun things like that. Other things that were in this unit, the squeeze theorem. So do you remember the squeeze theorem is? I asked you way back, to memorize the fact that the limit as x approaches 0 of sine of x over x is 1. And we kind of saw it graphically, but we could also do it using the squeeze theorem. Pinning it between two things that we knew both had a limit at that spot. So you could use the squeeze theorem. Other things that we talked about are discontinuities and what is the difference between being discontinuous and being continuous. Just as a reminder, the definition for continuous is a function's continuous at a particular number if the function exists, if the limit as x approaches c of that function exists, and then those two values have to in fact be the same thing. That's what it means to be continuous. And it could fail any one of those three spots, and then that would mean that it's discontinuous. Another thing that's in here about removing discontinuities, you can only remove a discontinuity if you can plug up a hole in the graph. If it's at two separate spots, you can't remove that discontinuity. We learned about asymptotes, vertical asymptotes and horizontal asymptotes. You can think back to your pre-calc days. And then the last thing that they're putting in this unit is the intermediate value theorem. So I pulled this picture right here from the book. The intermediate value theorem said that if a function is continuous, and then you have like an f of a value and an f of b value, then you can pick any other value, y value, that's between f of a and f of b, and somewhere on the graph between a and b, there will be an x value that will yield that y value that you are going to identify. Okay, so this is by no means like an extensive list. You can just look at the topics on the side and see, oh, okay, these are the things that College Board is putting in quote unit 1, and that's what you guys are going to practice, right? All this limit stuff and functions being continuous, that's what you're going to practice in your FRQs. Okay, so your assignment is to do 3 FRQs. I got them right from College Board. They're from the progress checks. We haven't done them before. There's a part A question 1 and a part A question 2, and then there's a part B question 1. And so our new norm is going to be the following: as soon as you do these, all 3 of these, right, all 3 of these guys, and you check them with the provided rubrics, then you're going to go into this Google Doc that I gave you guys a copy of, and you're going to start typing in stuff. You're going to tell me what your score was for each of those guys. You're going to tell me what the main ideas or topics were so that you can go back and reference them if you want to. And then this is just for you, but I want you to fill it out. What did you confidently know? Like, yeah, I actually knew that solid. That topic was great. And then what do I need to brush up on? Maybe there's some things that you're like, ugh, I really did not do limit rules very well, and I need to put that in there. Okay. So other things that are of a resource to you. So we've attached 2 PDFs that we want you to be aware of. There's this one called When You See, and it's just something that we would have filled out during class, and it's just kind of like very quick little things if it asks you for certain stuff. And then we got these quick little summaries if you need a little bit more exhaustive sort of, summary, because I just did it really quick. You can go in and read these, and they're all by topics, and it just says like limits and horizontal asymptotes and all sorts of good things. So of course you're just doing a little bit at a time, like of course, but then those are going to be your resources for you. Okay, so basically that's it for the video. I'm hoping that these videos are going to be actually like super quick. I'll try not to do tomorrow's video in the dark. Sorry guys. Oopsies, my bad. I was working so hard this weekend. This is the only time I had to video. And I think that's it. So that's all. Good luck on your FRQs. Come join me and see me in office hours if you need some assistance. And that's it. So I'm going to drum roll us out of here and get out of here. That's it, guys. Bye. See you later. Bye.